Hello and good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining me here. As part of the CDO Magazine interview series, I am Bas Kuti, President of MODAC. We're partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews here. And today I'm a pleasure of welcoming Tom from Schnucks to be with us, Andy from Doughty Services to be with us, Rick from Royal Chaining to be with us, and Naveen from Bayer to be with us as well, and Chris from Evernorth as well. So really fantastic group of people to be with me, partnering to produce this a panel around a set of questions we're teeing up. And we're represented by companies across retail, manufacturing, pharma, and so on. So I think it's going to be a fantastic set of questions as we go forward. The first question, really, I'll hand over to Tom here, and to really set the scene about the CDO Magazine, CDO Forum in St. Louis and the community and how the community has grown. Tom, do you want to just cover that?
Yeah, sure. We started, and this was really Andy Sweet's organization was kind of the catalyst or sponsor. We started meeting as a group of data executives in St. Louis in late 2017, early 2018. And at the time, it was just a handful of data professionals and companies, and we were sharing best practices around data management, analytics, culture. But as time went on, I think our last in-person meeting had probably over 20 data professionals that represented the who's who amongst the larger companies here in St. Louis. So there's definitely been growth, but more importantly, I think a desire to collaborate. And so from there, we started really kind of focusing on the region, right? It wasn't just about sharing ideas and best practices, but how can we attract talent to the region? How can we develop talent within the region? In fact, we started curating an idea that was a data science consortium where we might even have a rotation or what we would call a residency program where we would share talent amongst the different industries and companies to develop and attract talent to the region. But ultimately, as we continue to meet and discuss and I think word got out, we ultimately had the leader of Civic Progress join with us at the last meeting. And what he wanted to know was what was the high demand skill sets that we could focus on developing in underserved areas of St. Louis. And the CIO of the city of St. Louis joined us a couple of meetings to pick our brains about how they might develop data-driven decisions within the city government. So we've seen growth. We've in this group. It's now we're calling it the St. Louis CDO Forum, but we've seen growth in the group, growth and interest in the group, but also we're starting to have an impact, I think, on our community.
That's great to see, and really important for other communities to sort of start thinking about as well in terms of the economic impact you can have as you go forward, and the impact to careers as people look at data and look how data can make a difference to organizations going forward. And on that theme, I've got to go to the first question. What's senior visionary in terms of the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella? He's laid out a vision where empowering the future of organizations through using productivity platforms which are embedded with AI in them. What role do you see the role of the CDO in enabling an AI-first enterprise in the community? I'll open that up to anyone.
Yeah, so maybe I'll hop in, and team, feel free to chime in as well. So it's kind of interesting. I guess I kind of react to that AI term. I think really the role of the CDO is to drive data and analytics into every aspect of the organization, especially around decision making, from the most senior leaders all the way down to the employees on the line out in front of customers. And for example, I mean, the opportunity we have to start taking decisions around customer interactions and understanding our customers is a tremendous opportunity. So I don't think it's just AI. I think there's a lot of use cases they're very traditional data-driven use cases that are just not leveraged, right? Basic blocking and tackling around data. So I think you don't always have to shoot for the AI thing, although it's not a bad concept. It's just we can use analytics in every aspect of an organization. So I think that's the real opportunity that organizations have.
Yeah, it's not just kind of hype or the buzzwords around AI right now, but really the core foundations of the analytics needs a good data foundation. Naveen, how do you see that?
Yeah, I think as well. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think as well, the size of the organization, where I represent Royal Canin within North America, but it's also a division within Mars, global company. So I think the role of the CDO is really defining the framework. How do we look at data architecture? How do we look at the data repository, the definition, building the foundation, building the capabilities, and then how do we create that framework so that there's a localization? When I say localization, I'm looking at North America, US, and Canada, and Mexico. How do we build that framework to get that alignment within those markets to actually get closer to the data? As we're powered by data, how do we get them the tools, the framework, to really enable them to localize those solutions within the markets?
That's good. How do you standardize across a data architecture, a data set of standards around across your different geographies as you go forward? But again, you come back to this kind of, Chris and Naveen, you see so much around AI. And I was reading a Harvard report where he said 80% of AI projects are not making it into production. The science projects and research projects, but not making it into kind of a business impact. Do you see examples of AI coming through in your organizations?
So, Baz, I think I'll start. I'll try to link both of your questions because it's a very, very important point, right? And ties back to the role of the CDO. The CDO, first and foremost, needs to be a business leader. I think that's how it's now evolved into. Previously, the CDO's role was more closer to the CIO's role, where they are trying to bring in the foundations, but now it's changed to where the CDO is not only setting up the framework, they're starting with how can the business evolve into the future state where the customer is now, the needs for the customer are so different than the needs of the customer 5 years ago, right? I do not consume as much stuff as I used to through television as I used to in the past. I consume things differently. I interact with things differently. We all need to respond to that. And that's a key element, because once you've made that connection, once as a CDO working with the rest of the C-suite of the board has made that connection on what is the response to these changing customer needs, that's when you get out of this pilotitis type of mode where things die in a lab or in a factory where they don't go anywhere, right? Once you can tie it to tangible business outcomes, tie it to the same measures by which we measure the health of our business, things are going to be a lot more likely to get to that end state, to get to that customer and get to that return on investment that we're all seeking.
Okay, that's good. So tying the solution right back to effectively what the business outcome is what you're driving at, and data enabling that as we go forward. And the technique you use, whether it's traditional analytics or AI analytic techniques you use, doesn't really matter. It's really how the business outcome is being.
If I might, oh, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, I was going to say I really agree, and I like what Naveen said about CDO as a business leader. I wanted, to throw back to one of your earlier questions. One of the roles of the CDO, as I see it, is to really show and showcase and prove out data as an asset for the business, to improve the core business model, to serve customers better, and to drive growth as a strategic asset. And the hardest part of the advanced side of analytics, data science, AI, and machine learning isn't so much the methods themselves as it is making sure we are answering the right questions. That's one of the biggest challenges, because in this day and age and all the technology enablement that has happened over the decades, we have more data at our fingertips as analytic and data professionals than any one of our predecessors in any industry. So we can answer any number of interesting questions, focusing on the right questions, tying in the CDO as a business leader and showcasing data as an asset is probably one of the biggest challenges. That calls on a lot of technical background, but also a lot of business and strategic background. And then as that role continues to evolve in that direction, I think we'll see that stick rate of those AI solutions making it into production. It won't be 80%, maybe it'll be 50%. There's always going to be some experimentation in an advanced technology, but tying data to value, showcasing it to the business, and adding value to our customers is key.
Yeah, I want to answer the question as well, and all of these thoughts kind of align with what I'm thinking is, you're asking the CDO's role in AI, and I think their role in AI is to be the champion, be the strategic leader in developing those capabilities, be a change agent in integrating those capabilities and ensuring they're productionalized. But well ahead of that, you need to see if the AI solution actually fits the business challenge. And what I would assume is those that aren't finding their way into production, they're probably swatting flies with a sledgehammer, right? They can answer the problem with traditional analytic capabilities or assets. And because that's, AI is kind of a buzzword now, let's go down that path to see if we can solve the problem. But ultimately, the type of analytic, when you think of the analytic continuum, all the way up to cognitive computing and AI, has to fit the business challenge or business opportunity at the end of the day. And so I like what Naveen was saying, because I don't see necessarily our data and analytic organizations or even AI as a project. I see them as kind of the extension of a business unit. And we're looking at, AI solutions or analytics solutions to support running the business, growing the business, transforming the business, being good stewards over those capabilities that we're responsible for. So yeah, we're supposed to be champions of it if that is truly the type of technique needed to solve the business problem.